Content presented on the following podcast is for information purposes only. The views and opinion expressed from host and caregivers are solely given based on the experiences of the individuals involved. Because each person is so unique, always consult your physician, physical or occupational therapist, or medical and fitness advice. Are you struggling to help your aging parents or disabled spouse to do everyday personal care tasks? Are you concerned about them falling or you injuring yourself? What is the task that is so difficult for you to help them to do? You are not alone. We can help. You can receive practical tips and strategies from an occupational therapist and from other caregivers like yourself. And here is your host, Consuela Marshall.
Hello, I'm Consuela, and on this podcast you get to learn about your role as a caregiver. You get to embrace your limitations, learn how to best provide for the needs of your loved one in a safe and efficient manner. And you get to know that you're not alone. Look, every caregiving story is so different, and you get to write that caregiving story for your life. You get to learn how to take care of your loved ones. You get to learn how to accept that you cannot do it all. And you get to learn what to let go. And you get to learn what to pick back up. How to pick back up your life. How to walk in tune with your life while also caring for your loved one. Look, I believe you can still find a way of taking care of your loved ones while also taking care of yourself. So stay tuned. We've got some caregiving to talk about. Welcome to another episode of the podcast, and I'm so grateful to be back. 2025. And I still have a heart and a passion to help family caregivers and help aging older adults in their quest to live independently in their homes. And also with that desire to reduce the incidence of falls that many of our older adults are having, and it's impacting their lives and it's impacting their families. And for that reason, I wrote a book in 2025, which took a lot of my time, but I'm really proud of that. And I'll share more about that in this episode. But I want to say, first of all, thank you so much for being here. And to my surprise, I got an email saying that the Finding the Foothold podcast was rated at number 31 in the list of caregiver podcasts out of 400 plus podcasts that are directly related to caregiving. So I'm really grateful for that. And while I didn't even know that there were 400 of them, I'm grateful that I was listed as 31. And I'm really in awe of the number of people who continually download and listen to the podcast. So while I was churning away this year, working on the book, I would get that increasing number of downloads that were occurring on the podcast. And I am so grateful because it's my desire to inspire, to encourage, to help family caregivers in their quest to find their way of combining caregiving and still living a life still full of their hopes and their dreams, even in the midst of caregiving. So let's get started. So look, I'll catch you up about 2024 and talk about the plans for 2025 for Finding a Foothold. So and just to reintroduce myself, I am an occupational therapist, and I've been an occupational therapist for 30 years. So that's a lot of time. And in the great majority of that time, I've done home health. I've done some inpatient rehab, some skilled nursing facility therapy, but the bulk of what I've done is go into homes and to provide care and training for those who are suffering through illnesses, injuries, and in the need of therapy to really regain the best quality of life. And I'm also a caregiver. And I was a caregiver to my mom, who's no longer with us, but I know the struggles that caregivers face. I saw it in my life, and I see it on the faces and the lives of homes that I continue to enter as a therapist. And so on this podcast, I want to bring hope. I want to inspire people to change, to not just settle into doing things in certain ways that are causing damage to their life. Damaging your life is not the only way that you can show that you love your parent and love your spouse. It doesn't require that. There's a way to do caregiving that allows you
to be the best at supporting them, but also being the best at holding on to other areas of your life that mean so much to you. And that is my passion, to bring hope for you as a caregiver, to see your life differently. So in 2025, I want to help you find a better place of peace, a place of self-fulfillment in knowing that you're doing all you can do. Because caregiving is not them caring for them or caring for yourself. It is not giving everything to that spouse, giving everything to that parent, and giving yourself nothing. And it is also not just looking at yourself, looking at me, and turning your back and looking away from someone who needs you. It's not them or you. It is them and you. And finding a way to bring these two needs together. So we're talking about that in 2025. And if you're at that place that you're already into 2025, knowing that 2024 was not about you, and you have some type of guilt every time you think about things that you need, I want to help you move away from that and move toward a place of really understanding that you also matter. So let's talk about that in 2025. So welcome to Finding the Foothold. That's what it is all about. So in catching you up on what Finding the Foothold has been all about in 2024, let's start. Just a lot of changes in my personal life in leaving full-time employment and opening my own OT private practice. Took a lot of energy, a lot of hard work, and just a lot of diligence. And working on several certifications in 2024. And with that, just really increasing my focus on supporting all caregivers, but specifically honing in on caregivers who are supporting the needs of someone who's had a stroke. Whether it was your parent, whether it's your husband, whether it's your wife, showing you practical ways of supporting and advocating for them and their needs and your needs throughout the continuum of your caregiving journey. Look, this is near and dear to me because strokes happen and change lives quickly. And there are so many questions that need answers and so many things that you need to get right the first time in order to have the best quality of life for them and for you. And that's what this podcast is going to focus on this year, is really supporting the stroke caregivers. And even those who are stroke survivors, you will learn something that you can apply that will help you to have your best recovery. And now I'll talk about the book. I wrote a book on fall prevention because in my practice, I see so many patients who are falling and instantly changing their lives. Their dreams are remaining in their homes for as long as they can, and being as independent as they can are gone because now they are dealing with serious long-term consequences of the fall. Fractured hips, broken bones, head injury, things that are not always easy to recover from. And statistics are showing that every 11 seconds, an older person arrives at the ER due to a fall. And many of these falls can be prevented. So my book, Fall Prevention, Planning Not to Fall, is a starting place to get you really thinking about what are some things that you can do in changing your home environment and changing how you do tasks, having you to look at how you function and looking at the changes that need to take place to minimize your fall risk. So I'll do a lot of talking about fall prevention this year. So look, the book is available on Amazon, $10, and the proceeds from the book will go toward funding respite care. I know there are so many caregivers who don't have the resources to have time away from caregiving to even have to even take care of their own health, to go to doctor's appointments, have time to socialize with friends. They just don't have the resources to get away. The proceeds of this book will be used to fund my desire to do that. So with that, I'm going to tell you about the last thing that's been brewing with Finding a Foothold is the start of the Finding a Foothold Foundation, aimed at providing education and resources to underserved communities, supporting the need for education to family caregivers, and to aging older adults. So that's saying a lot. So I'm glad to be back and glad to announce my increased focus on the podcast on supporting stroke caregivers. But look, anybody can learn from the tips that I will share and the practical recommendations. But my focus is going to be lowering that stress and physical workload of those who are caring for individuals who've had strokes. Talked about the book and talked about the foundation. So look, and the private practice that I started. So leaving home health, but still going into the home setting as a mobile occupational therapy and still making impact in my community. And so I'm going to leave with some encouraging words. 2025 can produce some incredible change in your life. You don't have to stay on the same path of feeling like you have to do everything in your caregiving role. Many of you all are underappreciated. You're feeling guilty. You're made to feel guilty if you're not working to the point that you're mentally and physically exhausted. Many of you have given up friends and relationships that you may need to go back and explore and see how you can revitalize a relationship that's important to you. And what are some things that you can do in 2025 to promote your own well-being? It's going to be some no's that have to be said. And it's going to have to be some yeses that you say to yourself. So stick with Finding a Foothold. Because I do believe we should support the needs of a spouse or an aging parent. But I also do believe that you also have to take care of yourself. I believe acknowledging your needs and taking care of yourself does not mean you're being disrespectful or that you're not upholding a wedding vow. And so for you all who haven't been on the website, visit the website. Look at the things that are there. And look, I'm excited about 2025 because this is going to be a good year for you as you begin to really embrace what caregiving is going to look like in your life. Take care. Let's have a great year. Thanks for all that you do. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Finding a Foothold. We hope you found information that was useful and encouraging to you. And we want to invite you to visit the website, findingafoothold.com, and look at the resources that are available to you there. And also, we encourage you to follow us on our social media accounts, findingafoothold.com, on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And thank you so much for being a caregiver. And our desire is that you find your foothold in caregiving. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again on next episode. Take care.